Okay, friends, today we're going to look at an athlete stepping out of the blocks versus pushing out of the blocks. And when you look at your athletes or you look at yourself coming out of blocks, you're going to see this. And it goes back to my newly developing theory called don't let athletes use starting blocks if they can't push because it is pointless. So we're going to look at stepping out of the blocks and then figure out how we can fix the problem. First thing that causes this problem is athletes have poor positioning in the starting blocks in the first place. Let's take a look at this athlete. What's one of the first things we want to see is the shoulders over the hands. And what do we have here? Shoulders out past the hands. That's not even a straight line. So what's this athlete going to do? They are going to fall forward. And I have this athlete as a fall forwarder person. Second thing we want to see in the set position is that the front foot is directly beneath the hips. That is not what we see. The front foot is behind the hips. This athlete is already off balance, going to fall forward. Third thing that we want to see is the front shin. Really, for simple purposes, bisecting the front shoulder. Not too bad, but still too far forward. That's the problem. So right off the bat, this athlete is in a bad position. Coaching failure on a certain level or on every level. But that's a problem. We cannot be in that position. We cannot push out when we are all out of balance, when we are not stabilized. Blocks are meant to push out of. They should push you down the track. When we step out of blocks, the athlete pops straight up because we want to be able to have our athletes push through the shin. So this is the angle, we'll say for where we are, that we want athletes to push up through and specifically drive through the shin, push back into the ground. And so we should see both. If we look at the heels, we should see the heels push back into the blocks. We push down and back, and that pushes us, of course, up and forward. And then we can track on this line. Instead, what our athletes do, and you will see this a lot, remember, the foot should stay low out of the blocks, should be mostly horizontal, so we're looking for, to say, this back leg to come in this direction. But let's take a look at what happens. Gun goes off, athlete crunches up, and what do we see here? Let's look at this heel. First thing we see is the foot comes out before we even see any extension begin in the knee or the hip. This leg, this back leg, already heel, already coming off the ground and stepping out. We see that foot coming up, heel coming up. So we have the heel looping this way instead of coming straight out, stepping out of the blocks. Now, let's go back. I apologize. It's coach's eye. It's got to be done on one take. That's the flaw with it. So that's the line we want to see the athlete tracking up on, meaning the shoulders come up and push up on this line. We push through the front shin. And we see this back leg way butt kicking. So now we're pushing vertical. Shoulders are too far forward already. And we step out. And then the foot comes out. What do we want to see with the leg? Ideally, it should be here, here. But that's the foot already casting. And when foot strike takes place, we should be knee to knee, meaning this left leg, which is way back here, plantar flexed, should really be in line. I'll make it easier. This is where she is at foot strike. This is where your athletes are at foot strike. They are casting. They are reachers. They do not aggressively attack and strike the ground with their foot. They wait for the ground to come to them, and then they try to react to the ground. That is not acceptable. That is not accelerating. As Carl Smith Gilbert said, acceleration ends when the toe lands in front of the foot. For all intents and purposes, this is what we have. This is where she is at foot strike. This is where your kids are mostly at foot strike. This is actually pretty decent for her. It should be here at foot strike. We should be essentially knee to knee. Here we're in a better position. The foot is somewhat underneath the hips. That's where foot strike should take place. We are back here. We see this daylight. This is not good. We see this arch here. You cannot push through that. You must always be able to push through the shin angle at foot strike, and if that is the angle we are at foot strike, it's only going to, each subsequent step is going to put us like this torso wise. When we want to try to keep it through, remember this angle and keep it as close to this with every step that we take, and minimize the amount of coming up that we do. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Whereas our athletes just do this. 1, 2, 3, take a nap, eat a sandwich, you're out of the final. Now, thing again, let's look for early in acceleration. We do not want to see, especially in this first step, make me feel sad inside. We do not want to see the shin parallel to the track. Should not see that till farther down the track. Right, again, we look at the second step. Let's look at the shin parallel. Parallel, more than parallel. Can't accelerate that way. So if we have athletes that can't push out of blocks, why do we put people in blocks? Because we're sheep and we think in a very linear way and do not think about the big picture. That's the problem. And it all came back to poor position here in the blocks. So what do we do to fix that, though? How do we get the athlete to push out of the blocks and not step out of the blocks? One, you have to fix their position in the blocks. Two, there are certain drills, cues that you can do in practice right before they get in the blocks, right after they finish their start, early in the season, middle of the season, on your easy days, on your drill days, that you can do to fix this problem so this goes away. And so if you want to know what those things are specifically, you want to learn them, practice them, see how they are taught, we will show all of our bag of tricks, myself, Dave Cassano from Wheaton College, Gabe Sanders from Boston University, Kaba Tolbert from Harvard University. We're teaching all of these things at this summer's Complete Track and Field Clinic, July 20th and 21st at Harvard University. Register now. Early bird sign-up ends on May 31st. Look at your athletes, videotape yourself, see what you look like coming out of blocks, see all the flaws that you have that cripple you, every problem that you have in your race, getting run down at the end, people getting out on you, all starts from this moment to this moment is over. You must push hard into the ground. Push out of the blocks, not step out. That's the key to the whole game. Want to get better at it? We'll see you this summer.